Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 1996 Lincoln Town Car Executive Series. Up front is a 4.6 liter V8 and down below is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this here town car for a couple of reasons. First of all, I've done a bunch of Panther platform reviews, but never one from this generation. This is a second generation Lincoln Town Car, and so I'm excited to share that with you today. But the second reason is that I really, truly love these platforms, so anytime I get the opportunity to drive another one, I seize it. But before we get on to anything else, I have a website, zackpradle.com, where you can buy stickers and other merchandise when it becomes available. You could also submit your own vehicle to be reviewed by me through a quick and easy submission form, and you get a video of your car, just like this one, and you could read my behind-the-scenes blog to see what I'm filming before it comes out on the channel. But let's get back to that 4.6 liter modular V8 under the hood. Well, it makes about 210 horsepower for the 1996 model year, and it's a very common engine. Now, the very first year of this body style Lincoln Town Car came with the 4.9 liter V8, labeled as the 5.0, but it was quickly switched over to the 4.6, which we saw all the way up until the Crown Vic's end in 2012. So it's a very common engine, meaning parts availability is super easy to come by. It's reliable, it makes decent power. It is a V8 that makes low 200s, so it's not super efficient, but it's built like a brick house. And that's what I've always loved about the 4.6. Now, like I said, paired to it is a 4-speed automatic. It's doing the job. It's fine. Last but not least, the Town Car is rear-wheel drive, and it normally does have air suspension. However, a previous owner, before Anthony, actually removed the air suspension and replaced it with more modern struts. This car was going to be a lowrider, but then Anthony purchased it and wanted to keep it more traditional. However, he has not replaced that air suspension because it's a very expensive system and a kind of faulty system. That being said, the driving experience is very floaty and very vague. Bumps and potholes are felt in waves and ripples. It's incredibly smooth, but also in the steering is really light. You can essentially drive a cargo ship with one finger. And that's what I've come to expect out of town cars, but it's just so much more than other ones. This thing is really floaty. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a digital gauge cluster. I love this gauge cluster with my whole heart. Off to the left, I have my coolant temperature and fuel, then I get my speed in the center, and off to the right, I have a couple different things that I can display. I love the digital 90s-ness of this display. Really big fan, and you see a similar setup in like the Cadillac Fleetwoods, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. So it definitely fits in with the competition. The steering wheel has a giant pillowy airbag in the center, and I do have cruise control settings to the left and right, and a little trim piece of wood. Something you don't often see is a strip of wood in the center of a steering wheel. Off to the left, I have a couple interesting things. First of all, I have my steering settings, so I can actually adjust how the steering feels while driving. This is a really cool feature that even some modern cars don't really take advantage of. Then I have a climate control vent, my panel dim, so this is basically my gauge dimmer switch, and then of course my headlights and interior lights. Moving on to the door, I have my lock and unlock and power mirrors, and then down below I have my power windows and my power seat options. Very old style to have the power seat options on the actual door. This reminds me of like 80s and 70s Buicks. Moving into the center, I do get a little digital clock up on the dash, as well as I have 2 climate control vents and an aftermarket radio, because for 1996 it's pretty outdated, so if you want to listen to anything modern, you got to switch it out with something new. Then I have a couple buttons for my message center, so this will actually change what displays on the right side of the digital gauges that we talked about earlier, as well as I could reset mileage and things like that. Then we do have the climate controls. So I do have automatic climate controls, of course, high, low, where to send it, all of those goodies. And that does come with a little digital readout as well. Again, very high tech for 1996. Then we do have pop-out cup holders. So we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the 1996 Lincoln Town Car. And unfortunately, much like the later Panther platforms, this fails the big friggin' bottle test. They're just not big enough. But hey, at least it does have cup holders. Then I get a nice open center console area because I can actually fold up the center armrest and make the entire front seat a bench seat, which is really, really cool and really nice. Again, something you don't see much of anymore. And the overall seats are very, very comfortable. That paired with the ride, this sitting experience is absolutely exquisite. This is true luxury. And this is before they started to put airbags in seats and all these wires and sensors inside the seats. So these can be actually truly comfortable. Modern Lincolns are comfortable too, but in a different way. These are plush, lazy boy recliner comfortable, where the modern stuff is just, you know, good, but not like this. Definitely not like this. Speaking of seats, however, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 1996 Lincoln Town Car Executive Series. First of all, first thing you note, knees are not hitting the seat in front of me. Head is not hitting the ceiling. You have plenty of space. That's what I've come to know and love, not only from the Panther platform, but Lincoln Town Cars as a whole. Off to the left, of course, I have power windows, locks, all that stuff, but I also have an ashtray in the door. And coming into the center here, I do have a center console. That is just a big foam brick for leaning on, but nothing more than that. The seats are this really nice peanut butter color, the same as the front seats, and overall it's just a very, very pleasurable, very nice experience. I also do get to enjoy these tiny, tiny little windows over my shoulder. I like the design cue from the outside. Are they practical? Of course not, but overall, you know, there's a sort of regal feeling being back here, and I really like that. Let's go hop around the very back. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, so we're on the back of the Lincoln Town Car, and if we come back here, you actually flip this open and then twist it and pull it up. Once we are in the trunk, the Panther platform is known for having giant trunks. This carries on through the rest of the run as well. You could put this on Airbnb and I think you get a couple buyers. This is tons of space. You get this cargo net you could fill up with so much stuff. It's really, really awesome. This was a cornerstone of American sedans for so long, and it's starting to go away. I mean, just look at how massive this is. I mean, truly, truly awesome. Last thing I will say is that the trunk would normally have a soft close feature where you could lower it all the way down and then it would close the rest of the way. Because the air suspension is removed, the module was also removed for this, and so it no longer has the soft close. So you just close it like any other trunk. Now we got to talk about the looks, and I love the look of this Lincoln Town Car. I like how it's a good mix between the boxiness of the 80s, but the smoothness that really started in the 90s. The later generation Lincoln Town Car, seen here, you can see it's a lot more curvy. And then take a look at the Ford LTD that I reviewed on a Panther platform. Look at how square that is. So this is a good middle ground, and I really, really enjoy that. Something I do want to note is that this was actually designed by Gail Halderman, who also drew up the original designs for a little car you might recognize, the original Ford Mustang. That's right, these two cars shared the same designer. I found that to be pretty interesting. Also, talking about the Fleetwood a little while ago, this was the second longest sedan for sale in the 1990s, only behind the Cadillac Fleetwood, and 1996 was the last year for the Fleetwood. So in 97, the last year for this car's body style, it was the longest sedan for sale on the market. That is pretty neat. However, with all of that being said, length and all, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think finally driving a second-gen Lincoln Town Car? Well, I do want to talk about the politics of this car just for a second. Back in the 1980s, when the original Town Car debuted, they thought that it wouldn't last much longer and they were going to phase out the Town Car name. So they never planned on a second generation. However, in 1984, sales of big sedans started to come back up after the fuel crisis. So they got to working on this. This car was designed throughout the late 80s and debuted in October of 1989 for the 1990 model year. And it's just so interesting to me that this car was on the brink of dying and then came back to be one of Ford and Lincoln's most popular products. Think of a limousine. Just think of a random normal limousine. That's a Lincoln Town Car. So that to me is really, really cool. We almost didn't get that. What would our limos have been here in the United States if they never revived it in the 80s? Kind of interesting. But now I want to talk about this car as a whole. First of all, it drives, it floats, it's beautiful, it's great, and it's unapologetic. You know, this car might not be proper in some ways. It's pretty unaerodynamic in terms of its competitors at the time. It's big, it's brawny, takes up a parking spot and a half, and it's in your face. But there's something about that that's comforting. You know, this is like that fun uncle that picks you up from school when both of your parents are working. It's the fun uncle that passes you a beer when you're 19 at Thanksgiving and says, shh, don't tell your parents. It might not be a politically correct automobile, but it's a solid one. And if you can look past that, I think you'll really, really enjoy it. And I did want to draw some type of comparison. Last night, I bought this watch. I've never owned a wristwatch before, and so I decided it was time to go out and buy one. It was only $9 at Walmart, so I wasn't breaking the bank, but I wanted something that when I'm filming these reviews, I can quickly look at the time to make sure I'm not going over time, to budget things, whatever it may be. Now, I also have a smartwatch. You could text from it, you could tweet from it. It'll tell you how many steps you took, it'll tell you how many calories you ate. Heck, probably some of you got a notification on your smartwatch that this video was uploaded. Those watches are great. They're phenomenal. They do so many cool things. But sometimes I just want to know the time. I don't want the fluff. I don't want the extra. I don't want this. I don't want that. I don't want to see what my friends are tweeting. I don't want to see what I should have for lunch. I just want to know the time. That's how this car feels. It doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of extra fluff. Even though there is digital gauges and automatic climate and all those things, through modern eyes, this car is very straight to the point. It does the job, it makes you comfortable, and you go on about your day. That's what I've always loved about the Panther platforms, is that to me, they've just felt like this solid brick building that has been around for previous generations and will stick around for future generations. This car is seemingly built out of marble. I feel as though millions of years from now, archaeologists that come to this planet, they'll dig up styrofoam containers, stone structures, and a 1996 Lincoln Town Car. That's just how I feel. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Anthony for coming out this way, for letting me review his Lincoln Town Car. I was so excited when I got this email. You could submit your own vehicle on my website, and please do. That's what Anthony did. And I was very, very excited to take a look at the second gen Town Car. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.